Café and Networking Podcast promotes successful business experts. I'm Tom Reaoch, known as the King of Networking, connecting people throughout the world from my podcast studio in Brazil. And today we talk with Ben Grimes, and he's joining us from Alexandria, Virginia, the United States. Ben Grimes is founder and coach at BKG Leadership Coaching, helping lawyers, solo, small, and mid-sized law firms break through dysfunction, unlocking their leadership potential. So Ben, what does leadership have to do with culture?
Good morning, Tom. I really appreciate you asking that question because it gets at the heart of what lawyers do. And not just lawyers, it's really every business professional. But when I talk about culture, what I'm talking about is organizational culture. Mm-hmm. What does it look like within your business, within your law firm? What is the sense that your employees have of the business, of the organization, and what sense do your clients have of the organization? And when we think about those things, it's easy to think about processes. It's easy to think about the service delivery. It's easy to think about the brand marketing, mm-hmm. but those things are not culture. Culture is how employees and colleagues work together. Mm-hmm. And that's driven by leadership. When I talk about leadership, I'm talking about the way that managers and supervisors and other folks who are responsible, but maybe not in a formal position right. of authority, how do they inspire, motivate, and bring a team together to work on a problem or to deliver a service to a client?
I agree with you. Leadership today is even... it's less visible sometimes. It's more less visible than it was in the past because, in the past you would have a name tag on your door that wouldn't say this is the leader, but whatever it was thought that guy's the leader, that woman's the leader.
Absolutely. It's easy to say that a title makes you a leader. Mm-hmm. And really a title just gives you authority. It doesn't make you a leader. It may give you the authority to make a decision, but it doesn't give you the ability by itself, doesn't give you the ability to change, motivate, and inspire your team. And that's important because a level of inspiration and a level of loyalty and commitment to the organization and to those around you is why people stay in a job. We hear talk about law firms, not just talk, we see right. law firms and other businesses losing their employees to turnover. Mm-hmm. And it's easy to explain that as they got a different offer or a better right. offer someplace else in terms of money or flexibility. But the reality is up to 40% of those people are leaving because of their leadership or lack of leadership or lack of connection to the folks that they work with. And when we can create an environment that inspires folks to work together, to be collaborative, then turnover goes down, retention goes up. And as you know, turnover is a very big detractor on law firm and right. other business profit.
Now, if we're talking about teams, we're talking of the collectivities you're just mentioning, but you also work with the solo. You work with the person. You might work with the recent graduate. Now we're the month of graduation, so you have the lawyer and a diploma under the arm. And what do you say to the individual?
Yeah, to the individual and folks in small firms who might have only one or two associates who don't see themselves as leaders, right. what I tell them is they are leading in every aspect of their business and their life. If they're working with clients, they're leading. There's a certain deference to the client in terms of what the goals will be, mm-hmm. but a lawyer has an obligation to shepherd the client through the process that they know best.
They know more than the client.
They know more than the client. The client comes to them for expertise. Right. And part of that expertise is guidance. Mm-hmm. A lawyer is not just an advocate, but also an advisor. And that advisory piece is leadership. Mm-hmm. And when you think about it in that way, you can see opportunities to exercise influence and leadership in client relations, in supervising your paralegal, right. in your family relationships, and in other places outside of the workplace, in your community and things like that, where you don't have a formal title of authority, but you do have a position of influence.
Well, here in Brazil, it may be similar in the States. And today we're talking of an environment where you have a lot of startups. A lot of persons who have left companies and they decide, I'm going to start my own company. And my advice here to people, the first two things you need here in Brazil, you need a lawyer and you need some financial, fiscal advice. So that advice really comes at the beginning. And that leadership of leading, back to the legal aspect of it, is really the advice leading to the startup of any company.
Yes, I think that having a sense of the culture that you want to create in your startup is really important. And getting clear on how you're going to do that, how you're going to motivate and inspire folks. What's the message that's going to drive action in furtherance of this firm or this client or this delivery of services? What is it that inspires you? I can tell you, for me, I am in this business of leadership coaching because I feel very strongly that everybody deserves the respect of acknowledging who they are as individuals, even in their work, right. And that folks who are in a position of authority or of supervision have an obligation to take care of the folks that they work with. And
I can
those
see
two things
that
work
that's
together.
that's front and center on your site. You know, the BKG Leadership Coaching. We say trust, transparency, empathy, and passion.
Absolutely.
So if you're not emotionally connected, and the empathy portion, if you don't really share the personal level with a client or team member, how can you be transparent? How do you generate trust, right?
I think that's absolutely true, and empathy doesn't mean you have to sit down and cry with everybody when they fall over and get a scratch. But empathy means recognizing that folks have emotion and feeling, and creating an environment where it's safe to feel and share those emotions.
I can see that on your LinkedIn, say humanizing the practice, right? So it's not just the books, it's not what's written. It's the feeling, right?
Absolutely. I mean, the practice of law is, of course, grounded in the legal text, but I'm sorry, let me say it differently. The business of law is grounded in the text, but the practice of law is a human endeavor.
Right.
And it's the human connection between folks within the legal office and with lawyers and their clients, and all of that comes back to leadership and the way that we inspire, motivate, and work with the folks around us.
Very good. So how can those humans out there listening to us find you?
Yeah, they can absolutely find me on LinkedIn. Just look Ben Grimes on LinkedIn, and at my website, bkgleadershipcoaching.com.
Very good. Well, thanks for being here. Thanks for sharing.
No, I really love the conversation, Tom. Thank you.
Okay, and again, for our listeners, it's Ben Grimes, B-E-N, and the last name G-R-I-M-E-S. You find him on LinkedIn and his site, bkgleadershipcoaching.com. Café and Networking is brought to us by Focus MI Market Intelligence, an agricultural market research specialist in Brazil. More information at focusmi.com. Talk to Tom, talk to the world. Thanks for listening. Until the next time here at Café and Networking Podcast.